The population of the world is currently 7 billion people. 2.3 billion of these people have access to the internet. Google is currently the second most visited website in the world, second only to Facebook. All content within Facebook is available to anyone and easily accessible to all internet users. In the 18th century, the sharing of ideas and content that now takes place on Facebook took place during the Enlightenment. The Age of Enlightenment was a period of intellectual development based on the power of reason, which hoped to address problems such as freedom and class, while simultaneously improving the world's collective knowledge. Where today, an idea can spread around the world in seconds via the internet, in the 18th century, ideas would develop and spread through physical writings and meetings. '18th century Europe was dominated by Catholicism. As a result, religion existed in every facet of society and determined people's thoughts and actions. Monarchs ruled by divine right, and society allowed them to. The leaders of society used methods such as execution and excommunication to deal with religious dissenters. Members of society were expected to live a religious life, yet the ruling classes acted in unholy manners. Hypocrisy became clear as the Enlightenment philosophers highlighted the considerable problems caused by Christianity.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
And then the second question is, do you consider yourself a religious person? Why or why not?
Well, no. Not a big churchgoer. I feel like you don't have to go to church to be a good Christian or any faith believer for that matter. And my mom's Catholic and my dad's Presbyterian, so I don't really feel there's a right way to go about it. And I just kind of feel that I have an open interpretation and I have a good idea about the whole idea.
I consider myself really religious because my family's conservative. So.
I would consider myself culturally religious, not religiously religious.
I would not consider myself a religious person. I've never been raised with any sort of, I guess, religious background. I've never been to church, but all my friends are Jewish, but I don't consider myself Jewish. I wasn't raised that way either, so it's just really, religion's just not like a part of my life in any way.
The first question is, do you believe in God?
Yes.
And then, do you consider yourself a religious person? Why or why not?
I'd say I do. I'm Catholic and I believe in God. That's
Because you're
do
Catholic?
I mean,
Yeah, what about Catholicism makes you a religious person?
I would probably say, I don't know, like the idea. I mean, the idea that God exists, and it's Catholicism just gives you a structured way to follow God.
These responses in modern-day society are allowed, encouraged, and even accepted. 200 years ago, however, these responses would have dire consequences that could have determined these people's lives. By employing criticism based on reason and logic to inspire enlightenment in the public, Diderot, Voltaire, Paine, and Montesquieu boldly challenged popular beliefs with their religious criticisms. Their chief grievances oppose intolerance, violence, formality of religion, and hypocrisy, highlighting the negative effects of these notions on the public. Overall, their criticism examined the state of Christianity and its creation of a religiously and morally bankrupt society. The Enlightenment philosopher Voltaire is among the most well-known and controversial thinkers that emerged from the 18th century France. Voltaire made his mark on Europe through his many writings, including Treatise on Tolerance and Candide. Voltaire used his Treatise on Tolerance to show how backwards French society was. The French government was abusing their power and condemned Jean Calas' death. They found him guilty of killing his son because the boy allegedly wanted to become a Catholic. The court sent him to the wheel, where he met his torturous death on account of his Protestant faith. Examine whether the true religious spirit is more consistent with charity or with cruelty, said Voltaire. He spent his life writing and educating people on his beliefs. Voltaire died an enlightened man who spread his message over the globe. Denis Diderot was a French philosopher and writer. He was a prominent figure during the Enlightenment and is best known for serving as co-founder, chief editor, and contributor to the encyclopedia. Diderot's strongest criticisms of religion are found in his works in the encyclopedia. Diderot writes that the intolerant individual is an evil man, a bad Christian, a dangerous subject, a bad politician, and a bad citizen, highlighting the negative influences individuals have on society. In his work, The Nun, Diderot criticizes formal religion as well. In The Nun, he logically questions the role of convents in the church and the larger institution of religion. Altogether, Denis Diderot's works challenge his readers to exercise logic and reason in order to create a more enlightened society.
Proof of the existence of God is not based on the authority of books, whether called Bibles or Korans, nor yet on the visionary authority of dreams, but on the authority of God's own visible works in the creation. These words, written by the British Enlightenment thinker Thomas Paine, capture the spirit of religious reform during the Enlightenment. Like other Enlightenment thinkers, Paine felt that religious reform was the key to making the world a better place. Paine, a harsh critic of both religious formality and holy books, believed the religious rituals created by man did nothing aside from blocking the path to true religion. He also believed the holy books so many lived their lives by to be creations of man, and in turn, unnecessary. Paine and other philosophers championed reason above all things, and believed one should simply use reason to govern their lives and discover true religious enlightenment. The acceptance and use of reason, Paine believed, could open one's eyes to the vast and glorious world around them, proving the existence of God. Paine believed the care and goodness God put into creating humankind in the world should teach man his duty toward one another and gratitude toward the Creator. Montesquieu, a philosopher originally from the southwest of France, had a strong personal belief in God, but had a complicated relationship with Christianity. For Montesquieu, God was the basis of morality, and without God, the human mind would lose its foundation. Though he never renounced his faith, Montesquieu was ambivalent toward Christianity at times during his career. He showed in his Persian letters his frustration with ritual, arguing that ceremonies and dogma weren't necessary to show love to God. Still, Montesquieu wasn't willing to entirely write off Christianity, believing that Christianity opposed despotism and that Christian morality was its most important characteristic. Montesquieu's faith ran toward deism. He saw God as a mighty king, bringing together pieces of all the world's religions. He wrote against religious intolerance, calling for tolerance as a key policy of the state. His worldview had an important place for God, but not necessarily worship as expressed by Christianity.
Today, discourse about ideas of religion has moved from the salons of the 18th century to the coffeehouses and meeting places, both physical and virtual, of the 21st. The philosophers and their contemporaries took on many subjects and disciplines, and religion was one of the most important. Ideas like deism, religious tolerance, informal practice, and the role of reason saw their genius during the Enlightenment. Today, those ideas inform our thinking about religion, and through outlets like Facebook, religious discourse and debate is stronger than it ever has been. We can use social media to disseminate our ideas and influence the way people think. The Enlightenment has not stopped. Every day people learn something new and choose to spread their ideas. The marketplace for ideas allows for open discussion of topics like religion and brings people together on a global scale.